afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 37th episode of MSME Masterclass. Today's topic is advancements in industrial building construction, and we are honored to have Mr. Mahendra Singh, the CEO of Arcedges, as our speaker. Mr. Singh brings over 2 decades of expertise in PEB and steel structures, having collaborated with leading companies in project management, sales, and key account management. His extensive experience spans domestic and international projects, making him a distinguished figure in the industry. A civil engineering graduate, Mr. Singh is renowned for his ability to provide technical solutions to complex challenges. His profound knowledge of project management, erection, and technical sales has been instrumental in managing overall operations at Arcedges. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Mahendra Singh. Welcome to MSME Masterclass, sir. We're pleased to have you.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. I'm glad to hear and represent Arcedges as a MSME company, a leading pre-engineered building manufacturing company based out of Gujarat. We are a company which was started in year 2017. So a young company in the field of steel building construction for industries as well as other applications in infrastructure. So this company is started with a vision to serve the country with an upscale steel construction and to make sure the customer delight is on top. We have our manufacturing facility near to Ahmedabad, about 110 kilometers from Ahmedabad city on National Highway 48. And we have a manufacturing capacity of 50,000 tons per year. And recently we have undergone an expansion as well. So we are doing projects pan-India, right from Jammu in up north to Tirunelveli in down south to Guwahati in far east to Mundra in far west. And we are also proud to mention that we are doing projects in multiple African countries like Senegal, Uganda, Ethiopia, Sudan, and recently supplied buildings to USA also, to 2 different states, that Kentucky and Atlanta. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. So that was a brief from Mr. Singh on Arcedges. Now we will move on to our first question that we're going to ask him, which is with regards to this the most innovative construction techniques currently used in industrial building development.
The steel building construction has seen a transformation in last 2 decades in our country. The pre-engineered building industry that emerges as a leading trend or an innovative construction technology about 2 decades ago, when it was not widely accepted, lesser known in the country, and thereafter it picked up rapidly with the demand what we have in our country. And as we see, India as a nation with a large industrial construction happening all around with massive projects. To talk about few of them are the Micron, which is happening in our vicinity, that's in Sanand. It's a large industrial infrastructure project happening wherein thousands of tons of steel is getting consumed. At the same time, if you'll see the projects which are happening around, those are not the one what we used to do about a decade back. Our typical square meter size of a building used to be in thousands of square meter only, like say 10,000 square meter or 20,000 square meter or 50,000 square meter used to be a big number at that point in time. But today we are talking about lakhs of square meter in a single steel building or a pre-engineered building, what we are building for large automobile companies or the companies like Micron or the FMCG companies like PepsiCo or Coca-Cola or Hindustan Unilever. So PEB as an innovative technology that has already been widely accepted and being implemented by and large in the country. Now, the further advancement, what we see, or the innovative technique which is being currently used, is the use of BIM. BIM is building information modeling, and this is something which is like you design a 3D model first, visualize it, coordinate it, and make sure that it's perfectly something what you need. There is a popular term, measure twice, cut once. And this is something you measure everything at once as a whole of the building, and then you start your fabrication process. So this is a popular, this method is getting popular. We also widely use in our Arcedges modeling system. We use Tekla modeling for the beam. And what we do is we make sure that the models are also on the basis of all the approved requirement of the customer. And once it is made sure, then only the job gets into the fabrication. In the recent times, the buildings are getting more complex, the deadlines are being shorter, and yes, there is always a demand for keeping the tight budget control. So for this, absolutely there is no room for any rework or the vestiges. So BEAM helps us greatly in achieving this. The construction industry being the second largest in the country to accommodate the workers, and it's again the industry which creates a very large amount of waste. So it's our collective responsibility to cut down on the wastages. So that's where BEAM helps us, making sure that no additional structures are being manufactured or supplied just for the purpose of making sure that nothing goes wrong at site. And then at the end of the project, we dump the Mother Earth with the lot of amount of wastages. So now I'm a very strong believer that the BEAM is something which helps us reducing the timeline, cutting down on the waste and cutting down on the rework. So that's a technique which is being used in industrial building development these days. And I'm proud to mention that we use 100% of 3D modeling in our projects.
So since you mentioned that, could you also share with our attendees some of the examples of recent projects where these innovative techniques have been successfully implemented?
Yes, there are a couple of projects we've completed recently. One for Varun Beverages Limited, largest bottler in the country for PepsiCo. We have supplied a building to them in Gorakhpur, which was about 65,000 square meter of area. And the Tekla modeling helped us in making sure that there are no reworks at job site and building was delivered within the stipulated time frame. So this was one, and the other one is an interesting facility we are building for a rare earth metal company based in Baroda. That's Rubami. We have supplied them 3 buildings, and all of those buildings were multi-story process structures. So these process structures are very critical in terms of the detailing, wherein the steel platforms or the floors have to house the equipment which are getting installed, and these equipments have critical detailing wherein their resting points on the mezzanine structures are to be detailed very carefully so that while the equipment is being placed, it is perfectly set. And it is not just one equipment. At times there are multiple equipments connected from one place to other. So any error in the steel construction can lead to a critical failure on the accomplishment of timeline, and also the rework will lead to overshoot of the budget. So that's where again the Tekla modeling helped us in making sure that those details are captured correctly. And this project is also recently successfully completed by us without any cost overrun.
Got it. So now let's move on to the newer techniques part of it. How do these new techniques compare in terms of cost and time efficiency with traditional construction methods?
See, about a decade back, you'll see by and large our detailing used to be a 2D modeling, mostly in AutoCAD. And the buildings also used to be simpler in those days. Now, as we as a country, like we are getting into the complex businesses like semiconductor manufacturing facility, the one which is happening here in Gujarat, and in other parts of the country also, we are building some complex structures for food plant, agro plant, or the chemical unit. So there, the processes are getting, I'll say, very evolved, and thus there is a demand for the steel construction has to be more accurate in terms of integrated facility to have all MEP, like the mechanical, electrical, and the plumbing properly integrated within the building. So with this integration, the detailing which is happening in 3D, helping us in achieving the proper output or the outcome in terms of the shop drawings. This is one element. The other element, once the members are fabricated, the evaluation of time to install them and the overall time frame to complete the project is being monitored by you. It's now being monitored by using the analytic, by handling the data, or by ensuring that your previous experiences, how those are helping this building construction in time within the budget. So I'll say the data analytics is also helping us and making sure to understand on the time frame of the project completion, and also preparing the schedules which are realistically can be achieved without any disruptions. So these techniques, I'll say, are being widely used and bringing efficiency in our overall operations. So as an MSME company, I'll say, I mean, there are thousands of companies like us in the country, and baby steps taken in understanding the data, also making sure that all inputs are rightly in place while we are moving ahead on the construction, and then getting into the detailing of structure, fabricating it, delivering it, and getting it executed. That helps us making sure that we are on time and with the right quality and within the budget.
Right. And so when we talk about sustainability, what role do you think it plays in the latest advancements in industrial building construction?
Yeah, so as I said, while we are into steel building, and the steel building, steel itself is a material which has got almost 100% recyclable content. So with steel building, a problem related to the waste that is already addressed and brings a substantial amount of sustainability right at the inception of the project. So apart from steel construction, steel being used in the construction, the other practices of following which are being followed, like the effective utilization of skylights or natural illumination in the building, rainwater harvesting, as our buildings are covering thousands of square meter. The one I mentioned to you in Gorakhpur is 65,000 square meter of area, and if you compare like the amount of water rainfall which happens, and this much amount of catchment area can help us in achieving the rainwater harvesting goals. Plus the other materials which are being utilized in the building, like the thermal insulations, those are helping in temperature control without any lesser amount of carbon footprint. Like the buildings are need not to be necessarily air conditioned while we talk about the comfort of workers working inside the factory building.
So sir, now moving on to government funded projects, how do you think are these government funded projects prioritizing sustainability in the construction practices?
Amrita, see, we are talking about industrial buildings, and allow me to take a detour to beyond industrial buildings. See, the largest project which are happening today in our country, connecting our two metropolis, the national capital Delhi and financial capital Mumbai, Delhi-Mumbai Expressway. You see, it's a fabulous example of sustainability. This is first in Asia. This expressway is first in Asia where the passes for animal movement, wildlife movement are being very beautifully planned in state of Rajasthan. There is the national highway passes through Ranthambore National Park as well as Mukundra National Park, which is a famous tiger reserve in the country. And there are 5 numbers of underpasses, 3 numbers of overpasses which are being constructed. I'm very super excited to travel on this road once commissioned. So this is something which encourages all of us to think about the sustainability in construction, and not just construction, as an overall planning. So this is one project I'm very fascinated about, where government initiatives are worth an applaud. Another project, airports which are being constructed in both of these places, in Delhi, the new airport at Jewar, or the Navi Mumbai International Airport. Both of these projects are epitome of the sustainability in terms of getting a proper transit system being implemented to have a lesser amount of carbon footprint. Then the solar energy is going to largely drive both of these projects. Once commissioned, the solar energy will be pivotal in driving the airport operations. And other augmenting elements are rainwater harvesting, then the recycling of the food or other allied wastes in getting generated in the airports. Those are also being properly planned right from the implementation stage. So government, yes, I mean, it's glad to know that government is very alert, and the supporting bodies like IGBC, Indian Green Building Council, have a lot of guidelines available. Those comes handy while we talk about any industrial project or any other project where the sustainability has to be kept on top. We are also a member of IGBC and often seek guidance while we use the other materials, allied materials in our steel building construction.
Lovely. Sir, could you also share with our attendees with regards to the sustainable materials and technologies that are becoming standard in modern industrial buildings?
A lot of leading industries are encouraged to achieve the IGBC Green Building Certification norms. So IGBC is promoting a lot of materials which are Green Pro certified. So one important material in our industry is paint. Paint is there to protect the steel from corrosion, and paint, as everyone knows, it contains a lot of hazardous chemicals as well. So the introduction of paint system which is low VOC, low volatile organic compound, is being widely used in ensuring the metal building corrosion as a protection measure. Then the other popular materials are thermal insulations. Many of those are Green Pro certified, and those are fire rated as well. Plus the skylight system, if it is efficiently used, no one needs to switch on the bulbs in the daytime. So that helps in saving the energy, at least in the daytime, by when the large amount of factories which works only in the daytime. So there we can cut down on the electricity cost and reducing the carbon footprint. Other than that, some innovative materials are also getting introduced in the building, like the ventilators which are working on without any power consumption, those are turbines, those are ventilation at the reach, which we call as a roof monitor. If it is sufficiently designed, then there is no need for the powered exhaust system or any automatic, any exhaust system which consumes electricity.
And so, when we talk about strategies, could you also share with us in terms of strategies that are key for optimizing the design of industrial buildings to enhance the efficiency?
See, we as an industrial building, steel building supplier, our role is by and large limited to address the customer requirement. So, most of the customers already have an architect or a consultant on board with them to work on to the structural requirement or the loading requirement of the structure. Now, when we get engaged with the customer or with their consultant or architect, we try to understand on the additional collateral loading what they have considered in the building, the floor loadings where the mezzanines are there, and with a dialogue or with an engagement with them, we make sure like the given load is something which is a customer's need, not that something which is going to be sometime in the future or just as a safety measure is being introduced in the building. So that is something which is being discussed with the customer. And once the data is clear, the input is clear with us, we make sure that the steel intake of the structure is accurately designed by using softwares like StatPro or MBS, and making sure the quantity which is estimated is something which is to get consumed in the building without any additional buffer for wastages or something. And with this, we ensure that the buildings are optimally designed. Plus, apart from just steel consumption, the other elements which are related to the human comfort who are working inside the factory building, be it illumination, be it ventilation, those are also being carefully studied and analyzed by our designers beforehand, so that we could optimize and make sure the number of manpower which is going to work inside the factory building, those are delivered with the comfort which is intended for the workforce.
Also, if we have to talk about the design optimization part of it, can you share with our attendees how can design optimization impact the overall cost and life cycle of an industrial building?
See, Amrita, in our business, the majority of input cost is towards raw material. So when we talk about the design optimization, it boils down to the steel quantity optimization. The reduction in steel quantity for a given area of the building, like say when we talk about an area of 50,000 square meter of the building, and if it is to be constructed at say 15 within the steel tonnage of 1500 tons, and if it is carefully studied by the engagements with customer, with the consultant and other stakeholders, the other parameters are taken into account by understanding onto their MEP, mechanical, electrical, plumbing arrangement, or the other allied parties which are involved in the process. So if those are considered collectively and if it is delivered within the steel intake of say 1400 tons, then there is a net saving of 100 tons, which is a large saving for this project itself. So our engagements with the consultant or the customer are really beneficial when the data are transparently informed and updated with the purpose of all the elements which are getting involved in the building. And that's where the net saving is achieved. In majority of our projects, we make sure that the targeted quantity doesn't overshoot by any means. And the steel quantities are within the budget all the time.
Can we, sir, discuss a case study or a couple of case studies where design optimization has significantly improved project outcomes?
Yes, Amrita, we are working with Wipro for a very large manufacturing complex in Amalner. Amalner is a birthplace of Wipro. That's a small town in Maharashtra. And this plant of Vanaspati ghee, you might have heard this term in our younger days. So, like, this facility was built in almost like pre-independence era, and then it was refurbished many times. Now it is completely being rebuilt, and we are supplying steel building there. So again, being a FMCG building, an oil refinery, it is a multi-story building having multiple equipments. There we have a contract with a limited with a steel quantity of about 2,000 ton, and by our multiple engagements with customer and their consultant who is based out of Aurangabad, Maharashtra, we could achieve this number of 2,000 ton by ensuring two things. One is by ensuring the collect data in place for all their equipment loadings, then getting it accurately designed with the desired safety factor, and then modeling it correctly so that there is no room for rework or any vestiges. So with that, we have achieved the steel quantity optimization, and we are right on the budget. This building is getting constructed now, and very soon, like in next 3 months, by the end of next quarter, it will be ready for the usage.
That's amazing. So could you also share with us in terms of some practical strategies for improving on-site efficiency for industrial building construction?
The practical aspects of the building constructions are, I'll say, those are something which are nowadays are largely dependent on laborers, which is being a scarce workforce for us. We are very soon will be no longer a country with surplus or cheap laborers. With a lot of employment opportunities, the workers are going to be a scarce commodity now. So then what will help us in days to come is for achieving the on-site efficiency is something like understanding onto the construction technique, evaluation of the construction technique beforehand, using the right kind of machineries so that there is no room for any time lag, any stoppage in the work in middle, and also using your previous experiences or data to ensure how something was built successfully in the past and replicating it or improvising onto it. So this will help us in achieving the on-site efficiency.
Moving on to our next question, sir, which is about role of modern construction management tools and technologies. What role do they play in achieving on-site efficiency?
So as I mentioned, we have to be largely dependent on equipments henceforth. And what we do is, in current scenario, any building which is going to be erected or installed at job site, we made a proper assessment by having a site visit and ensuring that the right kind of equipment is only being hired or being mobilized at site. So it's an important tool. We have recently built a glass manufacturing facility in Kosamba near Surat, and this building was built on an RCC slab which was plus 7.5 meter from ground level, and the whole of the construction was to be built from outside only. So equipment played a very important role, and without any disturbance to the existing facility, which was just a road across, the equipment placing, the installation, sequential installation and erection that help us greatly in achieving the building completion within the stipulated time. In my opinion, the modern construction management have to have the planning, involvement of all equipment and the sequential construction coupled with the sequential supply, so that no excess material is dumped at job site, which will create a difficulty at later date, maybe in equipment movement, maybe a material movement, and posing a hazard, safety hazard at site. So that is to be taken into account to achieve the desired timeline and safe construction practices.
Got it. So when we talk about government investments, how do these investments drive advancements in industrial building construction?
One important thing is the thing I see across the industrial areas these days. The industrial areas are now are being very well established. You talk about any state in the country, be it Gujarat, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, or Haryana. These are big pioneers in since decades now, where the government have been very supportive and proactive in providing industrial infrastructure before industry comes in. But that is the current situation is even going beyond a step, like by ensuring the connectivity or the availability of resources, or the if we talk about the talent pool around the industrial areas, the companies like Tata or even your company JSW, they are being instrumental in by implementing effective training programs around the industrial areas, where government initiatives coupled with the CSR activities by leading corporates are helping the industries to have the skilled manpower on board, right from the construction stage to the implementation and then running an industry. But yes, there is, a lot of this also yet to be done on skill development part, as we are a very fast-paced economy now, and aiming to reach our goal of $5 trillion economy very soon. So with this, we'll also have to keep a close eye on the skill development everywhere, all across, to ensure that there are no gaps left between the actual implementation at site, what is being planned, and the actual the skilled workforce required to ensure these goals to be achieved.
So, since we're talking about impact as well with regards to these advancements, could you also share with our attendees how do these advancements have had an impact on the industrial construction industry?
The advancement in terms of the skill development are very critical in these days. The industrial construction industry is, as of now, it's very unorganized, as long as we talk about the workforce which delivers the industrial infrastructure. Even today, the industrial buildings or steel buildings which are getting constructed in down south or in the western part of the country are largely dependent on the skilled worker who are coming from either from northern states or the northeastern states. So the skill development is very important and can play an important role by of the local workforce, who can be helpful in implementation and achieving these goals.
And so my last question to you, which is with regards to future trends, what according to you could be the future trends that we foresee in the industrial building construction?
As we see, the digital world is very rapidly changing, and any innovative technique which is being implemented today, like say for example what I talked about in the addressing your first question, the BIM is a technique which is being widely used now, and no one knows, like another technology comes in and disrupt the whole situation by being more effective and being more practical. So the future is, as we say, it's unpredictable. But yes, the techniques which are being currently, as I see in the near horizon, are the usage of data analytics as well as usage of drone for the real-time information, and also to implement or the supervise from a remote distance. So these are going to be a common practice going forward in our industry. The easy accessibility to drone and the remotely controlled supervision. So like those are being slowly being part of the large projects, and I'm sure going forward it will be part of every big or small project while it is critical in terms of their timeline as well as the budget.
Got it. With that, we've come to the end of our episode for today, Mr. Singh. Thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your insights with our audience on advancements in industrial building construction. It was a pleasure speaking with you, sir.
Thank you very much, Amrita. It's a pleasure for me as well to have with you on this forum, and my all best wishes to you for your future.
Thank you, sir. And to our audience who's online, if you'd like to watch any of our episodes, including this one, please go on to YouTube and look for JSW1 MSME. You will find this episode along with all the previously shot episodes on various topics with regards to MSMEs there. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.